The point, let me conclude by saying this. This is not going to waste money, what we're talking about each year doing. It's going to grow the economies. It's going to keep us in a position where we are the most advanced economy in the world and where we bring along the people who have made this country. You know, I joke, and I shouldn't get political, but.
And Biden has suggested that the inflationary tether for Social Security be changed from the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers. The CPIE specifically tracks the spending habits of households with people ages 62 and up. Governors and state officials have laid out the new tax rebate plans. This includes who will be eligible for inflation relief and when the checks will be sent out. This week, payments worth up to $1,000 will be arriving for eligible recipients, so make sure to watch to the end to learn how to receive it. Mississippi has announced that it will end its participation in the federal crisis rental assistance program that has kept people facing eviction their homes during the past 2 years. Now, the state has still $130 million in federal cash to run the program, but the governor said this month will be the latest chance for residents to apply for assistance. Once Mississippi finishes processing the remaining claims, there will be leftover money to the U.S. Treasury. The program's end comes as rental prices in Mississippi have skyrocketed, and a large percentage of those behind the rent or mortgage say they are at risk of losing their homes in the next 2 months. When California introduced the 2021 Golden State Stimulus Program, millions of residents in the lower and middle income brackets received tax rebate checks from the state as part of a scheme designed to redistribute the state's massive $75 billion budget surplus. The scheme distributed one-time checks worth $600 or $1,200, but this is depending on whether an individual filed taxes or filed jointly. However, the stimulus check program left out individuals who received Social Security and disability benefits because their tax returns showed $0 and California's adjusted gross income. To qualify for the scheme last year, California residents were required to show between $1 and $75,000 of income. In 2022, California is broadening its stimulus program, providing rebates to even more residents. This year's middle-class tax refund scheme will see checks distributed in October of this year, and recipients of Social Security, disability, or other public assistance programs will be eligible to receive this money the time around. The state will issue checks worth up to $1,015, but any single filer making more than $250,000 will not receive a tax rebate. California residents with benefits, whether they file their taxes individually or jointly, can apply to receive additional payments. The highest possible rebate payment for a California resident will be around $1,000, which constitutes to about $700 rebate plus an additional $350 in relief. California can afford to expand its tax rebate this year after it was revealed that the state budget surplus will reach around $97 billion. For the second year in a run, California has seen historically high budget surpluses due to dramatic increases in tax revenue from the state's highest earners. The rebates are likely to be well received too, with California witnessing some of the highest prices increasing in the country. Now, the onset of the crisis coupled with state-issued lockdowns put the economy into its sharpest contraction in U.S. history. In response to this, lawmakers turned to new forms of economic relief.
Oh, you have heard that phrase a lot, but it has to be done. The reality is, an enforceable, clear boundary and preserved border is statecraft and deterrence 101. It's that simple. Without it, there's a clear incentive.
Show me the way. If there are ways, I know our viewers are sitting at home and says, okay, Carrie, you show me the way. I need ideas. Then what's the way?
Yeah. So one can be defensive, but also take into account opportunities that are out there. So on the defensive front, if you have owned consumer staples and energy, those have been great stocks. That doesn't mean they're going to continue to be great stocks. You can also now own some stocks that are growth stocks, whether it's owning, Autodesk or owning PayPal or owning Waste Connection. These are companies that will continue to earn, are not trading at high multiples because the market has taken them down already, and combine them in a portfolio with other sectors that have more defensive characteristics. And then you can get 3%, you can get 3.4% on some treasuries right now as part of that mix. But saying this is a bear market, we shouldn't own stocks, is not really what Josh means. He's just saying that there is downside potential. But if you miss the top big names in terms of top percentage change in the market, so that you wait for a bottom, but then you never hit the days that it goes up 4% or 5% in a day, you can miss a lot of the upside of the equity markets. So nobody really wants to sit there and say, oh, this is it, bingo, this is the bottom. You can't do that, much as people can't pick the top. So I think having a portfolio that straddles sectors and types of stocks is appropriate in this market.
Right. So, Joe, is tech the way? Is growth the way to play this market? I'm wondering, whatever happened to the Qs buy that you had been circling like a shark, waiting for the moment to pounce, and it never happened? Why not?
Because I told you.
As the market digests a more restrictive Fed policy and the labor imbalance, we're going to dig a little deeper into the impact these things will have this month. Already, September is a historically weak month for the markets overall. Midterm years can be particularly challenging, though. Our next guest has her eye on the technicals, though, and says that there is a pretty good chance of a rainbow after this potential September storm. Let's bring in Jessica Inskip, Options Play Director of Product and Education, for more on everything we've been talking about here, Jessica. And let's say you see a rainbow coming. Explain why and when. How much more rain might we have to endure before that?
Yeah, absolutely. And September, like you said, is such a challenging month. And if we're taking a look from a seasonality perspective, just like you said, it's very challenging, and layered into a midterm year, it's even more so challenging. But if we take a step back for seasonality and look forward into October, when we have those downward months in September, October is up 65% of the time, up about 2.14%, which should really overcome the weakness and the storm that we expect in September. And Powell has a lot of data that's going to come out that will hopefully help alleviate that as we get more communication and clarity into what the market wants to do and how it reacts.
You know, Jessica, things have felt pretty good the last few weeks and maybe the last 6 to 8 weeks overall. Maybe not good all the time, but a lot better than we had been doing for this year to this point. What technicals are you watching that tell you that things could get better here? What key levels?
Yeah, so I really care about the cloud model. I think that's extremely important. We looked at key levels as far as when Powell spoke, and also when he last spoke, and we actually retracted right back to that level. So it's a little different from your technical basis. It's just looking from a starting point to an ending point, qualitative, quantitative, if you will. But from a support level, it's 38 to 3,900. I actually love the way Carterworth describes support. It's like a mattress. So it's soft and it sinks in. So that's the level we're watching right now. Going below that, and I've been calling it for a while, is that 200 weekly moving average. Historically, taking a big picture on the overall market in every major bear market, it always surpasses that line. And that line right now is